you will indulge me for just a moment. Go back to 2021. West Virginia passed a law joining dozens of other states that prohibit boys from participating in girls' sports. That was House Bill 3293. It defined male and female based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth. The law said athletic teams designated for females shall not be open to males. So that law was challenged by a lawsuit filed on behalf of Becky Pepper Jackson, who at the time was a middle school student, a boy identifying as a girl who wanted to participate on the girls' track team. The U.S. Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals granted an injunction in 2024 determining the state law violated Jackson's rights. Hope you're with me so far. Last month, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld a Tennessee case that bans gender transition for minors, saying that does not violate rights. And State Attorney General J.B. McCuskey asked the U.S. Supreme Court to review West Virginia's case and uphold the West Virginia law. That brings us to this morning. And State Attorney General J.B. McCuskey, who joins us from the Charleston studios this morning. J.B., good morning. Good to hear from you. Good to see you again.
Nice to hear from you, too, and I appreciate the fact that you think I'm an amateur comedian.
I'm just saying, you could hold your own at an open mic night. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe. I don't know. It's probably less funny in that forum than TJ's shirt today.
Wow, that didn't take long, did it? You gonna hop on the Steyerwalt train? You know, he gives me hell over these things too. Are you gonna jump on that?
I don't believe Chris Steyerwalt can make fun of anyone for what they're wearing ever. You can tell him I said that.
I will. I'll mention that.
All right, JB, I gave the brief background. So what is the update this morning? You had asked the U.S. Supreme Court to review the West Virginia case. What is the latest?
Yeah, so just to sort of go back to what you said, there's a little bit of, you got it wrong just a little tiny bit.
No.
So we had already asked the Supreme Court to review this. The Scarametti case just added to the litany of case law that is coming out of our federal courts. It gave us an opportunity to refile our motions asking the Supreme Court to hear this case. But in this instance, you know, what we're doing is we're defending a state law that has a serious but very functional and rational meaning. And we're asking the Supreme Court to tell the Fourth Circuit that the West Virginia Save Women's Sports Act is constitutional, it's compliant with Title IX, and that it is good law for the people of West Virginia. And we're really excited that sometime in the next year, we're going to be in front of the United States Supreme Court, Michael Williams, my solicitor, and I, arguing for our legislature's action here to protect women's sports. And we're excited about the opportunity, and we're probably more excited about the opportunity to protect women's sports and to give girls around the state a fair and level playing field.
You said for the people of West Virginia, relative of Scarametti, is that the way this should be? West Virginia can do what it wants. Pennsylvania can do what it wants. Virginia can do what it wants. Have your state law and decide. Let the citizens in that state decide whether or not they want transgender athletes competing.
I don't want to speak for any other states.
Okay.
But it is my opinion that every state should have a law like this. We have spent decades and decades and decades fighting for the rights of women to be on the same level playing field as men. And what you have is young girls getting up at 5:30 every morning, just like the boys are, going out and running, lifting weights, going to training, and sort of making their life's mission when they're young to become great at something. And for a very long time in this country, that didn't matter to people. And we finally crested this hill when you see things like Caitlin Clark out there just absolutely crushing it on the basketball court, where women are finally getting the recognition they deserve for the incredible hard work and their incredible skill in these athletic endeavors, on top of the fact that it's coming with college scholarships and opportunities in professional sports and opportunities for NIL deals and opportunities for, all the opportunities that men enjoyed, women are finally starting to get to. And what this law does is it protects the playing field for these girls as they develop, not just for their personal safety, but also for their well-being, right? I mean, it is, kids are fragile. And when they see something be as unfair, it can be really, it can really derail their self-esteem and their sense of self-worth if they're placed in a position where their hard work is derailed by a system that creates unfairness.
So, JB, how does the legal argument change, or does it change, based off of the Supreme Court's ruling in the Scarametti case?
The Scrimeti case is really not functionally that important to this case. It is an important ruling. It is a landmark ruling, but Scrimeti didn't get into Title IX. And what this case is really saying is that Title IX enables these kinds of laws to be constitutional, and we're really looking forward to making that case in front of the Supreme Court.
Brad, if you have a question, jump in.
Hey, Brad.
Brad McElhenney is just observing on Zoom.
Oh, my bad.
They don't have good cell service in Washington, D.C., apparently.
So, writ of certiorari. I think I said that right. Did I say that
nailed
right?
it.
I nailed
Almost as though you're from a Greek background or a Latin background.
Do I look Greek to you?
I mean, a little bit in that shirt.
I knew you were going to do that. They'll hear the case. Doesn't mean they'll agree with you.
That's correct. So we have a lot of work to do between now and then. The preparation for a Supreme Court argument, I spent a lot of my career at a place called the American Center for Law and Justice, where we argued a lot of cases in front of the Supreme Court. And when Michael Williams is our solicitor, he is one of the best lawyers in the entire country and just an absolutely fantastic guy. But when you watch somebody like Michael, and I'll be right there with him the whole time, the way that they prepare for these cases takes months. And they go through every scenario, every question, and they make sure that they understand every single case throughout history that might have a bearing on this, so they can be ready for every question that one of the 9 justices asks. It's really a fantastic sort of almost movie-like setting when you watch people get ready for one of these Supreme Court cases. We'll have moot courts, and we will invite experts to come in and question as though they are Supreme Court justices to make sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted, so that we can be ready to defend what our state legislature did here. And I think that's important, and the hard work, we are very, very bullish about our chances, and this hard work's going to pay off.
State Attorney General J.B. McCuskey is joining us, the U.S. Supreme Court, announcing this morning that it will hear the West Virginia case regarding the Save Women's Sports Act. J.B., you're probably going to repeat yourself a little bit from opening, but there are a lot of people out there, I'm sure, sitting there thinking, why is this worth the fight? There's one student in West Virginia right now that this would impact. We're pretty conservative. Why is this worth the fight?
Well, it isn't just one student that it would impact. The law applies to every student in West Virginia. And so what we have here is a case where the respondent here, BPJ, sued to have this law found unconstitutional. But if and when the law is found constitutional, it will apply to every student. And I think that the idea of fairness in sports matters. And I think that there are ways in which we can ensure that every single young girl in this state knows that when they spend their time and their effort and all of their hard work will end up enabling them to play on a field or throw discus on a field or to play basketball on a court or to play golf on a golf course, they will only be playing against people that have the same physical characteristics that they do. There will not be this sort of cloud hanging over their head where they may have to compete against somebody who has a biological physical difference than they do, which I think matters. And I think sometimes you have to argue for ideas when they are absolutely the right thing to do. And that's what this is here.
Remind me, BPJ is how old?
BPJ would be like 15 now, I think. I don't know.
Becky Pepper Jackson was a freshman and competed at the state track meet this year in high school.
Thank you, Dave. As you move forward with this, obviously I hear, conviction.
Yeah.
In your voice. I also know you to be a man of grace and wanting the best for people. You ever think to yourself, and I'll give you an out because I know you got to be careful what you say with pending litigation. You ever feel like the child's been caught up in this? I mean, her parents filed this action. She didn't file it. She can't file it, can she? I mean, she's too young.
I'm going to not answer that question. What I will say to that question is that nobody is saying to anybody else here that they can't compete in sports. Mm-hmm. And nobody wants any child to ever feel as though they have been treated unfairly. But there are clear biological differences between men and women and boys and girls. And sports are a place where that plays out in real time and in your face. And there is just such a logical reason to ensure that girls are playing against other girls. And we've talked about this before, but there's this incredible Serena Williams interview where they asked about how she would do if she played against a low-level male tennis pro. And she said, I would lose 6-0, 6-0 in 10 minutes. And she said, we play a different sport than they do. And she's just, the way that she describes it is so perfect because women's tennis is an absolutely beautiful game. And it is very different than men's tennis. And I enjoy watching women's tennis probably more than I enjoy watching men's tennis because of the way that it's played, the thoughtfulness of every shot and the angles that they're creating and the ways that they are challenging each other through their hard work and the way that they're advancing their game. It's just so different than men's tennis. And if you have eyes, you know that that's true. And so this isn't about any single person, right? This is about a system that is set up to be fair for student athletes to have a competitive playing field where they're safe and where their efforts are rewarded by an opportunity for success.
State Attorney General J.B. McCuskey. J.B., thanks for stopping by on short notice this morning, and best of luck with the case.
Hey, thanks, guys. And to everybody out there, I hope everyone has a wonderful 4th of July. We live in the greatest country in the history of this world, and its birthday is something that is very, very worth celebrating. You may have a root beer float. I will likely have a beer of some kind that probably doesn't originate from roots. But I will say that Dr. Brown's root beer is a very slept-on root beer.
Ooh. Dr. Brown's.
Dr. Brown's. It is absolutely delicious.
I mean, God bless America. Minus America, I couldn't wear this shirt. You've been picking on me this morning.
Yeah, I would say that probably in Russia, that shirt would be illegal.
It should be illegal here.
But if it was illegal here, I would defend your right to wear it.
Thank you, sir.
You
Thank
are more
you.
than welcome.
JB, appreciate
Thanks,
it, buddy.
guys.
Thank you. Coming up.